Hi everyone. Today I want to answer a question that people have asked me, and it's how do you make green icing blue? So if you have green icing but you need it to be blue, you can't mix colors to get a primary color. That's the problem. So you're going to have to kind of go with what you can get. The thing about green versus blue is that green has blue in it, but it also has the yellow in it, which is why it looks like that. This is a very yellow green. This has green, red, and blue, but if you put all three of those colors together, it makes brown. So you have to be careful. And if you're thinking, well, I need to put in some purple to counteract the yellow, because purple is opposite yellow on the color wheel, that might work, but that's basically putting red, blue, and yellow together, which then makes brown. So you have to be careful with that. What I would do basically, if you need to do that, to make the green icing blue, is just dump a bunch. That's a lot of blue food coloring, but I'm going to do that. This is Americolor Royal Blue, and I'm just adding it to this green, so we'll see what happens with that. Let's mix this up. I think it's still going to be too green, but once we get it to whatever color it's going to be, we can adjust. And if you're doing this with a larger amount of icing, it's going to take a lot of food coloring, because once you get it to a color that you like, to adjust it to a completely different primary color is going to be really difficult. When you start mixing the primaries, you're just kind of messing yourself up. The easiest way to make blue icing is just to use blue food coloring, obviously. Okay, so now we've got, it's green with a lot of blue in it, so it's like a very dark teal. This is like a very dark teal color. I'm very reluctant to put more food coloring in, but I'm going to, just for the point of this video. The problem is that when you're mixing food coloring, there comes a point where it doesn't really change that much. So I just dumped a lot. I mean, that's a lot of blue food coloring. This is going to change the texture of the icing, probably more than it will change the color. And it's still going to have a green tint. See, this is making it very, very dark teal. And adding the gel food coloring doesn't change the consistency too much, but it's going to change it to a certain extent, especially if you're putting a lot in there. You're never going to get it to be a royal blue. That's just not going to happen. So right now we still have, I would still say that this is green, but it's a very dark pine green. All right, so now the theory of, can you add red to it? Because you want to get rid of the yellow out of here, so you need to add purple. But purple is red and blue, and you already have a ton of blue in here. I'm going to put some red in here, but I don't think this is going to work. I think basically you can't really make blue. It's just not something that is really easy to do. I'm going to add this red in here, because theoretically this would counteract any yellow that's in this, because it is adding the red to the blue to make purple, but that basically just makes it more brown. This is definitely not blue. I mean, you can't mix colors to make a primary color. That's the problem. Okay, so I've got this really deep teal now. This is a really dark pine green, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to, I think I'm going to ignore these two, because this is probably your best bet, because all of these are the different combinations. I'm going to take this and add it to all of this white, and this is just a little bit of this added to the white icing. The consistency of this teal, and it's basically a teal at this point, is really wet. And you can see in here that it does have blue streaks, but it is teal because we started off with that green. And when you start with green, you're going to have yellow in it. Now this might be a better, this might give you a better chance of getting a better blue color, because this is kind of blue. That's actually very pretty. Okay, but I think if you had green next to this, like if you had a green icing sitting next to this would look blue, but it's definitely teal, okay? And I am going to add just straight blue food coloring to this now, because I think at this point, that might be your best bet. So adding just a tiny bit of this which is the teal, to this, that makes it a light teal. And teal is blue and green, which makes total sense because that's what we've been mixing. Green is blue and yellow. I'm just going to add, again, that's a lot of blue. I'm probably going to run out of blue. There we go. Okay, so and it's never going to be like a primary blue. It's always going to have a green tint to it, but that's pretty good. I would say if I was looking to do like an ocean blue that has some green in it, then this would work just fine. If I was going to pipe some blue flowers, this would work just fine. I could probably add a little bit more blue food coloring to this, but I don't want to affect the texture of the icing too much because it'll kind of water it down. But I think that is basically how you make green icing blue. And this still has a green tint to it. It has the teal tint, but I think if somebody looked at that, they would say that this is blue. They definitely wouldn't say it's green. They would say it's blue. It's not going to be sky blue. You could take this and put it in some more white and make a sky blue. It might still have the green tint. This definitely has a teal tint as I'm looking at it. But if you have primary colors, which would be the blue and the yellow mixed to make the green, you can't take the yellow out. So you're basically going to get a blue color that has a yellow tint to it, regardless of what you do. The less you have in it, the bluer you can make it by adding more blue food coloring. And honestly, if you have white icing, like, you know, if I'm sitting here with all this white icing and I have green icing and I'm trying to make blue, you're going to have to use the blue anyway, and you might as well just put the blue in the white icing to make the blue. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be if all you have is green icing. You might just be out of luck, and you might have to make more icing. That's really the only way to do it, because like I said, once you start mixing primary colors, you kind of can't take it back. But that's how I would do it. If I had to start with, I don't know why I would do it. If I had white icing and a blue food coloring, just put it in there. But that's how you would make green food coloring into blue. It's still going to be like a greeny tint. Like it's going to have a green tint to it because it'll be more teal. But that's really the only way to do it. And if you have the white icing, just start with white icing and put blue in it. Okay, I will talk to you later.